Well, I'm going to do this video and I want you guys to listen up. This is about the new leader of the Church of England. Firstly, she's a woman. Now, I don't dispute that women should not have a leadership position, absolutely not. But she's the head. You cannot be the head of a certain area of a church and have full responsibility over it. I'm sorry. That belongs to a man. That belongs to the right man, the man God sends. As the prophet, as the priest, as the leader, as the father of the faith, as the defender of the faith, as the speaker of the faith, and as the one that upholds true biblical character and biblical ways and principles. Ladies and gentlemen, this woman, she's pro-life, not pro-life, she's against life. In other words, she's pro-abortion. So a woman goes to bed, has sex, and has a baby. She regrets it, and now she wants to terminate it. That's because she made the wrong decision. Now she's blaming the state that they won't be able to do it for her, but she made the wrong decision. Well, folks, we've got to decide whether we want God's law in the land. God hates abortion. God, let me say this again, God hates abortion. Period. He's pro-life. Even if the state has to look after their child, they have the responsibility. That's why the government and the state need to work hand in glove in order to come up with the right choice for that child. Not just the selfishness of that woman by her stupidity or however she was seduced to have sex and then fall pregnant. No, but by the right of the state to take control of the situation as adults, and as the church to take control with the state as adults to make the right decision for that adult. But we lack wisdom in this nation, we lack integrity, and we lack biblical sound principle. So we go along with whatever feels good, whatever goes with a person's conscience. I don't want to carry this baby. I was raped. In other words, okay, the woman was raped. That's a child. That's a seed inside of you. Yes, you were raped. Okay. In those sensitive choices, okay, where you can find whether you want to give life to something that you do not want. Yes, you only have to carry that for 9 months. And then you can give it away and it's never yours and never was yours. Okay. But you don't have to terminate it. You don't have to kill it. From the day of inception, that child, from the moment of inception, that fetus becomes a living thing, a living being, and you've given it life. All right. And if you study it, it doesn't matter how you study it. And that's why they took out Charlie Kirk, because he was so outspoken about this. And I'm letting you guys know that if we destroy life, can you imagine the future? Everybody having abortions? Can you imagine the future? Everybody having a reason, an excuse not to have a child? While I slept around, I got raped. Bad things happened to me. I was seduced. I was drunk. I was enticed, seduced, whatever the case may be. There's a million, billion, trillion reasons. But can you not just be patient for one period of 9 months to give birth to that child and then give it away? Why do you have to kill it? If I was a woman, I'd make that choice. But for you, because you have no conviction of life for another life, you would rather ignore and terminate something that you believe is not life, that you believe and you consider, but from a scientific and from a health perspective, from a medical perspective, it is life. So, folks, this is the thing that we are fighting against. We are fighting against whether we should choose 2 men and 2 women that can't have children, that we can inseminate through our biological new science, okay, and have a child, or give them a child from another person. How perverted and selfish is that? Because they want to enjoy their sexual harmonious relationships as 2 same-sex people. Now I ask you this question. If everybody turns same sex, like it happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, where they were having sex with men and women with women, and it was all going crazy, and like it is today, where will the family unit land up? Where will the church, the institution that God ordained to live up to standards and principles, where will this world discover truth and purity and what is really a man, what is really a woman physically, what is really a male, what is really a female physically, medically? Where are we going with this, folks? Because you're selfish, or you're blinded, or you're corrupt, or you're dark and evil, or you one-minded, and you say that people should be able to have anal sex, even a woman and man, even a man and a man, even a whatever and a whatever. Well, why don't we just go all the way and let beasts? Why don't you have sex with frogs and pigs and donkeys and elephants? Why don't you just go all the way? Why don't you just add it all in? If you want to start something like that, why don't you just, instead of keeping it in its actual standard, in the standard God created, why don't you just go all out and start having orgies with metals and pieces of wood and all kinds of objects, like you are now at the moment with your vibrators and everything else that you guys have? Because you're selfish, you're conceited, you're arrogant, and you're full of yourself, and you want to be justified in your selfishness and your greed and your lust, and you want God to agree with you. God's not going to agree with you, because God's not agreeing with the church at the moment, with their pluralistic ways, their double standards, just like our governments, double standards. No wonder this government two-tier justice is happening, because we have a two-tier status, a two-tier system in the church. Well, it's okay. We can allow people to come into our church. We can even have preachers and pastors and leaders being gay and lesbian and trans and whatever. What's next? You can think you're a mosquito, and you can preach behind the pulpit, and you can preach to other mosquitoes. Where are you people going? You see with the insanity I'm coming up with? This is where this will end up. This is where we go in. And if we continue this way, we should just completely get rid of every true Christian, kill them all, including me, and get rid of the Bible completely, and then do whatever we like. And then call ourselves God and get rid of God. And see how far you get with that one. See how far you get with that one. Where you will absolutely have anarchy, antichrist, Satanism, and everything going, more rapes, more crimes by billions and trillions of percent, more everything, because there's no upholding standards. There's no upholding principles. So where do you want to go with it? You want full-on anarchy? Well, kill each other then. Let's just kill everybody. Let's just rape everybody. Let's just murder everybody. Let's just abortion every child that comes into a woman's womb. Or now trying to put it into a man's womb, even where they're trying to create that. Why don't we just go all the way? See the insanity, folks. Where do you draw the line? Well, God draws a line, male and female, woman and man in a relationship, in marriage, period. God is pro-life. Even if the woman is raped, hold the baby for 9 months, give it away after the 9 months. Pro-life. Give that child, that fetus, an opportunity to live and become something that might just be the next great leader in life, or person, or even if they're not great, they still deserve to live. So where are we going? We need to ask ourselves this question. And that's why I do not agree, and I will not go along with the Church of England, and I will not go along with any church that defiles himself and practices what the Bible abhors, tells us is evil, and tells us plainly it's sin, and God does not accept it.